All right, welcome back to another special episode of Movie Chats. This week we are talking about a small independent film called Rescued, written, directed, and starring a guy named DJ Hale. And we are lucky enough to have him on our podcast today. So, welcome, DJ. How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I love getting to discuss this film and just happy to speak on your platform. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Firstly, we normally kind of introduce the movie when we're doing our own podcast, but since we've got you on, would you like to tell us about the movie?
Yeah, let's do it. So Rescued. Basically, it's an uplifting tale of compassion, of empathy. Something that I think is really needed in the world that we live in today. It follows the story of Tyler. He's a homeless man who ends up taking in this stray dog that saves his life. That bond basically motivates him to get back on his feet and get him and the dog off the streets. Just changes life. It's just all that was missing was that spark. Just something that to ignite that flame and letting the community see that as well and want to be a part of this and help. So that's pretty much just the basis of it. It's just something to something for everybody to just, I guess, just resonate with, because we can all be Tyler. It's very easy to fall into this situation. I think a lot of people don't realize that and just kind of take everything for granted, take this home for granted, take your job for granted, everything, not realizing just how easy it is to really fall behind and get into a place where playing catch up just becomes insurmountable, and I just wanted to make an honest movie, an honest film about that just kind of shows that, and places the just the story, the struggle, everything just on him, on the character, no exterior forces, you know what I mean? Just totally him, his decisions and everything. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Cool.
Nice.
Can you trace it back to a moment where what inspired this story? So how did it come about? What kind of really inspired the whole story?
Yeah. So this is a question that I'm gonna try and blow through it. It's just hard because there's really three separate instances that all happened that pretty much led to this, and there's no way to just kind of give it a 1 to 2 sentence thing. So basically, it started in 2022. I was at rock bottom. This was the worst I had ever been. Period. I was the brokest I had ever been financially. One of my best friends just randomly passed away in his sleep. I had a falling out with another friend of mine that was really close. My mom had just gotten evicted, and I knew that I was going to have to somehow figure that situation out, even though I'm not in a good place to do so right now. And the last thing, I was dating this girl for almost 2 years, and she dumped me as well. So it was just all of this happened in like a 2 month span. There was
Wow.
there was no like recovery from one thing and whatever, everything. It was just a tsunami, just
Yeah.
life just beat the hell out of me. And during this time, I was driving. You guys have Uber, right? You guys have
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah. So I was an Uber driver, and I was driving like 10, 11, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. I mean, it was grueling just to make ends meet. And one of the people that I picked up one time was this homeless guy from this Motel 6. And I was taking him to the shelter, and all he had with him was like his little satchel of clothes and this little dog, this little chihuahua, and this guy. I mean, he was like a big, tattoos everywhere, like tough guy. Like you would never think that he was, as tender as he was. And I would see this like, when he would when he would shift his attention to like his dog, you know what I mean? Like we have, like when you have pets, you do the little pet talk, who's your good boy, do.
Oh,
Yeah, so here you got this
we
big
do
tough.
that.
Yeah, I got pets, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
um so I'm witnessing this. I'm witnessing, our normal conversation, and then him shift into that, with his little doggy, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And you could just see that light, that this is what, this person had. This was his shining light in life. And I just remember dropping him off and just kind of like watching him for a second. And it was such a beautiful thing to notice, but it was also like incredibly sad as well because you know that dog for sure was what was keeping this guy going. That was his driving force. That was why he got up every day, why he, it was all he had, and it was very clear to see. And from the dog's perspective, the dog didn't know they were homeless. The dog didn't
Yeah.
know what this guy was. He had no idea what kind of life he lived, whatever. All he cared about, or she, was just that love and that companionship that it was receiving, from the owner, and it was just that unconditional love, you know what I mean? And it was just to see that, and to, it was just it was a really powerful thing. And the next thing was, I was walking the beach, and I was me and this other homeless guy, we're like crossing paths. And I mean, this guy, like, he didn't have any shoes. He, like, his teeth were messed. Like, it was as low as you can possibly, see from
Yeah.
from a physical standpoint. And the closer that we got, he looked me square in my eyes and asked me, "How you doing, young man?" And I didn't really want to be bothered. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm all right. What about you? And he told me, I'm just trying to hang in there, you know. And I was like, oh yeah, I feel you. And we just like passed by. And I remember that, like, I literally stopped after a minute and just kind of like thought about that interaction, and thought about my answer, and was really like disgusted with myself. You know what I mean? Like, for one, the fact that this guy who's clearly at rock bottom, like, I say I'm at rock bottom, but that's nothing compared to this man. I mean,
Yeah.
he's probably gonna, his meal is about to come from a dumpster. Like, there is apparent, and to get closer and closer, for him to have witnessed something in my face to make him genuinely ask, like, how I'm doing, because I'm dealing with my bullshit, and for me to brush it off, not want to be bothered, and then two, to then ask him, and his answer was as brutally honest as possible. I'm just trying to hang in there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I feel you. Like, what? No, you don't. Like, what do you mean you feel him? Like, there's no, you're, what you're going through is nothing compared to what this man is going through. And for him to say, like, I'm just taking it day by day, basically,
Mm.
and just to be that scene, for one, to lock eyes, and then to be that scene and that empathetic and everything from his standpoint, it made me really, for one, appreciate the things that I do have, and the gratitude that for the things that I do have. I do have a home. I do have a fridge with some food. I live across the street from the beach. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, your life is you're in the dumps right now, but you'll be okay. It's a phase. You got a hand on it. You got a handle on it. Um, it made me think about that person that's standing on the corner with that sign that says, spare change, anything helps. It made me think about the guy with the dog. We all are traveling our own different paths, man. And, like, a lot of times, like, the homeless, we put on these blockers, where it's just kind of
Mm.
like they're invisible to us. Like, they're basically like the scum of the earth. Like, you don't approach me, don't nothing. These are the losers of society, the dregs. Just whatever. Do whatever you can to not end up like that. And it made me just really, really sit and think about it all, man. And just like, dang, like, you know what? Like, they have stories. That guy had a story. The guy with his dog, they have stories. They had hopes and dreams. They had friends. They had people that loved them. They had, people that they loved, and so on and so forth. And you know what, man? Let me actually really dive into that, and I really want to, and it was those two experiences, plus my mom, who was staying with me at the time because she was evicted, and with her dog, that I don't know if you guys know this, the dog that was in the film,
Yeah.
Angel.
Ares.
Yeah. That was my mom's dog, and
Oh.
his whole, he had a legit, like, it odyssey in himself, just to even end up back with my mom, just to quickly kind of breeze through her situation. I knew that I was going to take her in, and she's going to, be able to get back on her feet and do all that. But my apartment complex doesn't allow dogs. So it was kind of like, I don't know what we're gonna do about Aries, and my mom, she rode this out to the very end, like the little bit of money that she had. I had to go to Sacramento, bring her back here where I live in LA, put her in a hotel that allowed dogs, and every day she's trying to figure out like how she's going to what she can do with Aries so that she could just kind of they can hold on to him for a minute, for her to get back on her feet before she so she can go get him. And there was no luck. There was no sort of foster. There was no sort of shelter in place. There was nothing. And every single day, until like the very end, you know what I mean? And my mom was very, very, very committed to, if I run out of money and there's no situation for Aries, I guess I'm just gonna be on the street, and we're just gonna, we're just gonna figure it out that way, because I'm not parting with this dog, and was dead serious on that. And luckily, ended up kind of working out, and had to. She had an ex boyfriend from way back that was like, "Oh, I'll watch him." So I had to then transport him back to Sacramento. My mom, was able to get back on her feet 6 months, and then we went back and got Aries, and luckily he was still there, and everything was great. It worked out, but her unwillingness to part with with Aries, with her dog, despite her situation, despite the fact that it is very real reality, like, you will be on the streets. Like, there's nothing I can do. I can't take the dog in and risk my living situation, like, and she was just like, forget it, like, it is what it is. So it was the combination of those three factors. Like I said, I wish there was a way to just summarize that in a sentence, but
Yeah,
it's not.
wow.
But yeah, but the beach encounter, that was the one that, like, literally right after that, I walked back home and went right into the office back there and just got to typing. So that's
Nice.
Oh,
how it
amazing.
was.
Yeah, I read as well that yourself, you by choice actually experienced homelessness just to see how it feels, right? Was that after that beach encounter that you felt, okay, well, I need to understand a bit better because I'm writing this movie, or was it completely separated from that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It was way that was way after. So that was when I started writing the film. So we're talking like end of 2022. We
Mm,
didn't start shooting until I believe October of 2023, and I think it was a month or two before we started shooting. It might have been a little bit longer than that, but yeah, I knew that, okay, if I'm gonna do this, it needs to be done right, and not only just as the actor, but as the writer, as the filmmaker, as the director. I need to have a
mm,
rock solid understanding of what it is like, in order to accurately portray this in authentic as a way as possible. And the only way that, to me, I was going to be able to do that was to really experience what it was like having no money, no phone, no kind of plan for the day, no nothing. It was a real experiment that I had to do. I gave myself a full day, full night. I only took $4 cash, which I had this master plan of like what I was going to be able to do with it. Absolutely was not the case once I really got out there. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have my keys. I wanted to be as essentially naked as possible,
mm.
and really see. And it was an eye opening experience, man. I mean, the first thing, understanding the real cost. It's expensive in the world. It's expensive for
Yeah.
us just to be alive normally. It's even more expensive for them, because check this out, that $4 cash that I had, I thought that I was going to be able to, like, okay, I should be able to get like a beer. I should be able to get like maybe like a snack or something, and then I should be able to get like maybe like a lotto ticket, like at least one or two. Those little scratchers, and maybe I
Yeah.
maybe I win some money, like in the movie.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I realized, oh, that is not the case at all. I'm walking down the snack aisles. Snacks are $3.
Oh,
Snacks are $2.70. Open the beer thing, $3. Like, everything was like $2 and $3 above, and I was just like, oh my god! Like, it made
Yeah.
me think about when they come to you and say, like, do you have any spare change, and you give them, some nickels and dimes that you've got or whatever. It's like, oh, that is nothing. That is nothing at
Yeah.
all. Like it was an eye-opening thing. And like I never really took the time, I guess, to look at it that way. Even when you go to the gas station and you pick up a snack or whatever, like I just think these things aren't registering. That candy bar that's $2-3, just like whatever, like you just grab it and pay your gas and get on out, But when you've got $4, or whatever, and you realize like, oh my god, I can only get one thing of something.
Yeah.
It's a whole different experience. So I got a beer. Might as well have a buzz while I'm conducting this experiment. And that was great until I got hungry, an hour later. And I don't know what time it is. And I don't know where I'm at. And I don't know anything. And I'm just meandering around. And I'm just burning energy. And I sit down. And it's just being aimless, having nowhere to go, nowhere to be, unfamiliar surroundings. People are passing you by, different people every minute. All of these things, your security, your safety. When it got dark, and it's like, okay, well, shoot, I really don't want to freaking walk anymore. So like, I need to figure out like where I can sit down and try and take a nap. Try and figure out how to do this. And then that, now you're really hyper aware of your surroundings. And once again, I don't know what time it is. And I'm freaking starving, and it's cold, and like all of these things are just. It was a brutal experiment and lesson learned, but one that I knew that I had to do. I had to do it, it cost me a lot in terms of like the relationships and stuff that it kind of fucked off, but. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to
That's
cuss
fine.
everything.
We'll bleep it.
That's edited. That's editing.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was something, man. That was something. Thanks for bringing that up, man. It's I haven't really got to talk about that in a while, and yeah, that was something, man. That was really something.
The cigarettes, because I don't know how much cigarettes cost in America, but over here, like a 20 pack of cigarettes is about $50. So it's insanely expensive for cigarettes here. So I don't know if that was something that's the same over there, but yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's like 15, $20 he's just smoking away there.
It is. I don't know about like the 20 packs and stuff. Like I don't smoke cigarettes. This was just strictly for the movie and stuff like that. But just a cart. I think that it's a cart. Like there, it's anywhere from like $7, $8, $9, $10 for however many come in just one little thing. Which once again, it's one of the jobs that I had a long time ago. One of the first jobs I had. I'm like 18, 19 years old at this time. Was I worked at a gas station. And ironically, I don't even think I've mentioned this yet. So this is cool that I get to kind of say this, because you talk about like a full 180 on a situation. What made me stop giving money to the homeless was I started working at this gas station as a cashier, and every time they would come in, they would just drop whatever it is they scrounged up, the cash, coins, whatever. And every single time it went to either cigarettes or beer or both. Every single time. And for me, being, 18, 19 years old, I was like, oh, that's where my money goes? Like, I'm not contributing to this anymore. Forget that, not understanding, even if you don't agree with it, you can look at it like, oh, they're just continuing to poison themselves or whatever. That's getting them by. Like their 24 hours and your 24 hours, going back to, those encounters that I had are so different. They're so different. If they need that pack of cigarettes to get them through the day hourly, so be it. If they need that beer or whatever, so they can just sit down because they're tired, they've been walking, they've been having to beg people the most, humiliating thing, and they just need to just sit and just kind of, so be it, But I remember, and it was important that I had those. Same with the washing himself in the bathroom. I remember that same job. Yeah. Opening the door, knowing that they just came out and it's an absolute disaster in there. And you're just like, oh my God, like but I get it now, and I understand, and now I have empathy. I understand, and it was it's just life experience, and just seeing how things evolve, your mindset, your humility, all of these things. Um, yeah, I forget how this question even came up. I never get to talk about these things though. It's always fun, and I just get to like, oh yeah, like, and just go off on tangents. But yeah, hopefully the question was answered somewhere in that
Yeah,
blurb.
perfect.
Yeah, 100%. Just going back to homelessness. So we live in Australia. I'm coming from France, and I've been to the US. I've been to California, and when I was there, it's very confronting that there is a lot of homelessness, like a lot more. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist where we live, but it's nowhere to the level that I've seen in California. And the movie, I feel, is very confronting about that. That's showing the reality of it, but still it's a movie that felt very heartfelt and hopeful. How did you strike that balance with showing the reality that is not sanitized, but also making it hopeful and heartfelt?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, it was focusing on Tyler, focusing on his story, the
Mm.
individual. Making a film like this with that kind of setting, you could very easily turn this into a statement kind of film. You're
Yeah.
blaming the government and victimize and all of these different exterior forces. It would be very easy to do that in a film like this, and I think to make it as authentic as possible, I just knew that I had to just focus on Tyler, the human being, and that's why, like in the beginning, where we catch him just in straight survival mode. He's
Yeah.
doing a lot of things that are unjust, if you will, from stealing and threatening with violence, another homeless person that encounters on some food because he hasn't eaten in so long and he doesn't have any money and all of these things. I wanted to just show like he's not a bad dude,
Mm.
but this is his situation and he's got to survive, it's no different than what I would be doing or you or anybody else. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just a day in the life of somebody who's not a stereotypical caricature of a homeless individual. It's not just some a junkie, somebody
Yeah.
battling, substance abuse who just, that's it's nothing like that. Sure, that kind of stuff is there, and there are obviously many individuals that is their situation. There are some that do have mental problems, and there's
Yeah.
no way that they can be a part of society. All of that is true. There's no way to lump homelessness and the why into a certain box. And so for me, it was the most important thing to do was to just focus in on the individual, and we're just going to watch his story, and that should be enough to show, this is the reality, this is what can happen. You have the dog, you have the spark, if you will, that inspires somebody to get back on their feet, that wants to. I wanted to also highlight that. Tyler is he's down and out, but he hasn't given up. You
Yeah.
give him a job, you give him an opportunity to do something and make something of himself, he's gonna do it. You know what I mean? And I think
Yeah.
that is the most important thing that could possibly be highlighted. That could, if change is going to get sparked in somebody, I think it has to be with somebody that sees that these people want to change. They don't want the government handouts. They don't want to
Mm.
be taken care of or anything like that. They just fell behind. They just
Yeah.
fell behind. They need a helping hand to pull them up, and then they can get right back into contributing. So that was important to me. Was basically focusing on Tyler to show the how, the why, and then what can be. You know,
Yeah.
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 100%.
You've spoken previously on empathy, and you've done this really well. So because people treat Tyler so differently before he's got Angel. You know, there's that scene with the two influencers where they're just it was almost comical, and we've got a question later on that as well. But do you think people treat people differently once they've got animals with them? Because it's like once Angel's by his side, people just treat him so much differently.
Yeah,
It was actually really,
I do. I truly do. I'm guilty of that. I know my friends are guilty of that. We've spoken about these things, and it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to digest because it's it's like you have to have it. There has to be like a plus for you to want to help. Just seeing somebody homeless is not enough. It's you got to see them and their dog. And then the thing is like you kind of feel more bad for the dog than you do them. So you know what? Here's $5. Like it just I don't know what it is about us, as people and what that says about society. It's true though, that you are more inclined to empathize with somebody and their pet than just one person. And yeah, just going back to the realness, just the authenticity of the story. I knew that I had to show that too without without like beating that message into the head of the audience or anything like that. I think the first encounter with the girl offers him the cupcake.
yeah,
It's not
Mm.
explicit. She doesn't explicitly say why she's doing it or whatever. She's just doing it just to kind of be helpful. But it's like, well, would she have done that, if Angel wasn't with him? Probably not, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was I guess just yeah, just going back to just telling, an honest story, yeah. To answer your
yeah.
question, I 100% believe that's the case, that we do that, and it's something that should be we should kind of, I don't want to say figure out why that is, but just accept that's a reality, and think about it.
Yeah. I also noticed that there's two very different stages where you play Tyler. I genuinely thought that this was two different actors playing Tyler at one stage. I was like, I didn't realize that was you in both scenes. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. How did you prepare for that?
Oh man. Phew. So for one, that was my real hair, that was my real beard, those were my real fingernails. I once the script was finished, which was I think in like January, it was finalized. I obviously knew that I was playing Tyler. There was no, and during that time, I mean, I was looking pretty good, like clean cut. Yeah, I was pretty buff. I was, but going back to, when I'm staying, spending the day and night, on the streets. I knew that, like, dude, like, you're gonna have to do a lot to, for one, that this isn't a vanity casting, that nobody looks at this and it's just like, oh, you just cast yourself just cause. It's like you need to earn it. You need to make sure, like, you are the correct person to do this, and so I knew that the physicality transformation, that was going to be freaking, basically, man. I knew that, like, I was gonna have to lose a lot of weight, no haircuts, no nothing, and I was gonna do that like up until we wrapped. So from January of 2023 all the way until 2024, the end of 2024, dude, like, that was how I looked. Like, Tyler is how I looked. If you would have met me, as your Uber driver, yeah, you would have saw that. And I had so many people that would, like, get in the car, look at me, look at their phone, and be like, and it's just like, look, listen, I'm not even gonna talk your head off. This is for a movie. Just, I'm sorry,
Awesome.
yeah, losing the weight, having to, gosh, that sort of diet was insane, and that kind of, that exercise regimen, which really was just a ton of cardio, and just being in a caloric deficit, all of it. I knew that, like, I had to transform, at least physically, and yeah, so we filmed all of those scenes first, And then once we were like totally done, we knew there wasn't going to be reshoots or anything. Then I was able to go in and clean up a little bit and do, be DJ, and fill in the blanks with the flashbacks and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean that was it was hard because I was really living like that. I was really living like that, and having to go out and be social, right? And if I'm out and I see a girl that I want to talk to, and I'm just like, oh gosh, like this is gonna be oh well, and just walk over looking crazy, and the fingernails. That was difficult, but once like the filming started, then it was. I'm glad that I did it. The fun fact, the his Tyler's wardrobe, it's never been washed. I never washed it, not once. Even right now, it's in my closet, just stinking up the joint. Like it's So I joked with on the last day of filming with like my hair and makeup person, just like, yeah, hey, at least you don't have to deal with this anymore. Because yeah, it's kind of my style. I want to really I want to really ingratiate myself as much as I can with the character, with whatever it is, and for this one it was a no brainer, like what I needed to do. So yeah, it was the difficulty was certainly just being in real life and prepping for that, and not yeah, just having to deal with that.
Nice. There is a scene that I really connected with, or like a part of the story that I really connected with, is how Tyler is desperately trying to care for Angel. And I have an old dog, he's 17, and I know how emotionally and financially of a burden it is to take care of a pet, especially as they are getting older, as they are getting sick. Is that something that you also wanted to portray, that privilege is not only at the way that people are looking at you when you're homeless, but also when you want to take care of a pet? There is a privilege in a way that when you have a home, when you have an income, you can actually protect a pet, take care of a pet, that when you're homeless, even though it's your only emotional anchor, it's very hard if something happens to them.
Yeah, yeah, it is that's definitely what I wanted to portray, and Scarlett's character even says it, like having a pet is expensive. Like this isn't just some like, oh great, you have a dog with you and now it's just there forever. They get sick just like we do. Their health, all of it is paramount, and especially in conditions like that aren't exactly suitable for them to begin with, where they're eating whatever it is that you feed them, and so on and so forth. Yeah, problems are certainly going to arise, and it's tough because it's one of those things that, like, this is where the divide comes from, where you have the people that empathize with those, that the homeless that have dogs and cats and stuff, and then you also have the people that are like, under no circumstances should this person have a pet, because think about the pet, like they need care, they need things that this person cannot provide, they cannot provide, and it really puts the pressure on you, the individual, and how you feel about it, how you see it, you know what I mean? Because on one hand, going back to the homeless guy with the dog, that's clearly what's keeping this man going, like that relationship, that companionship, that's his reason, you know that he needs it. He needs that dog, But also as a pet owner, someone that loves pets and everything, it's also like, yeah, but that dog is the its life is definitely, it's there's a compromise. It's like, you're jeopardizing like the health and just the overall well-being of this animal being with this individual, you know what I mean? So yeah, I wanted to show that too, just goes back to the authenticity of the story, there's not, it's more so just how you feel about it, I just kind of wanted to hold up a mirror, really. I'm not trying to preach anything, I'm just like, this is the situation, and some people will empathize with Tyler, and then some people will be like, well, see, that's why he shouldn't have a pet to begin with, so yeah, but it is. I'm dealing with it now. I got two cats. I got one that needs he's dealing with some dental stuff, and it's just like, I'm seeing these bills, and I'm just like, oh man, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a cat dad, so I get it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So it's just, it's just something that we gotta deal with. You gotta sign up for,
Yeah. The film has a few moments of humor that really caught me off guard, especially with Kirby. There's a scene where they're all standing up to him and he goes, "All right, well, you're all fired then." um, were you balancing those moments of the heavier subject, something you thought of when you were writing, or did you want it to come off as a people chuckle at that scene, or would that be like, "Oh my god"?
That's funny, man. And that's cool because this kind of this goes into like the schematics of like filmmaking and just how much your story enters a metamorphosis during each stage. From when you write the script, it's one way. When you start securing locations, the script changes. When you cast actors, the script is going to change because, especially somebody like me that's very, my directing style is very like sandbox. Like I'm not so much of a stickler for like being word perfect, like as long as your intention is there and you're not changing the freaking dynamic of the scene, go for it, all of these things, and then editing, the story changes from the edit as well. So like with that scene in particular, I think that is kind of a combination of like David and just the way that he kind of performs it. The
What a jet,
music,
by the way.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, incredible guy. I'm so blessed. Him and Lindsay, Alyssa. I mean, just the way this cast came together. Wow. But yeah, just the way that he executed that scene, the way the music kind of builds it up, the edit, like all of it. You never know like how this is gonna go, like as you're filming it until you put it together and then you display it to the audience, but it's one that I laugh at it too. And I think that the audience, like at the world premiere, like they kind of, it did the same. It's not like a hearty chuckle, but it's just like a like like, oh wow, this guy's ruthless.
It's so corporate, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh well, okay, well, guess we're all fired. It does a little head nod too, like doors over there.
So quite famously, production stopped for 8 months because obviously money ran out. At that point, did you think the film might not get finished?
Oh man, I thought a lot of things, man. I didn't think the film was going to get finished. I thought I completely ruined my life. And I don't say that in like a light way or, um, like we're talking, this was totally self-funded, you know what I mean? And in doing that, I took out a huge loan that immediately defaulted because I wasn't going to make payments on that while we're doing this. Maxed out my credit cards. My credit dropped like 200 points. Like it was nuts. And so at that time when we had to go to the hiatus, I had like $213 in my bank account, while we still had 8 days left of filming. Mind you, there was serious production debt, from cast, crew, just there was so much like the amount of debt just to get cleared from there, not even thinking about like the next 8 days of shooting, because obviously all of those days cost money too.
Yeah.
It was just like, dude, you bit off way more than you can chew, and I don't even know how you're gonna get out of this. Like I said, like, dude, you're an Uber driver, like you barely make enough, killing yourself as is to get by. Like, how the hell are you? So there was a lot of things, man. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget looking at my checking account and seeing that number, and everything just kind of like froze. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if you've ever been in like a situation like that where you receive some sort of information or something that's so, I guess, emotionally, maybe mentally like pulverizing that you just don't even have you just stop. It's like there's your brain just misfires, like, like what? And yeah, it was a scary thing, man. It was a scary thing, but and then also just knowing like everything that it was going to take to get back on track, not even just financially, but dealing with people like Lindsay, who's, like she's out and about. Like, dude, it's a miracle she was even in your movie and she still got like
Mm.
5 or 6 days left of shooting. Like, what's her schedule going to be like? You think she's going to hold for this, plus, it just everything that it was going to take to get back on track, the cast, the crew, everybody's availabilities, not knowing when this was even going to be possible, hoping that, nobody had a terrible experience. Cause it was a hard shoot. Like, I want to make that very clear. This was very indie. This was very shoestring budget, no permits, no nothing, just like, like the bare minimums were covered, make sure we've got food and stuff, sure. But like, this was not you're not pulling up and seeing streets blocked off and trailers and this and that. Like, no. This was definitely some real gritty type stuff. It was hard, we're going for 12 hours a day, every single day. Like, are they going to be down with like coming back? And luckily, man, everybody was, all of the cast, the crew. And I just know that it's just from just a belief, just the belief in this project and wanting to see this through because they love it so much and feel like it needs to be told, and believing in me that like, not only from just a visual standpoint and just trusting that like you're going to put together a damn good movie, DJ, but also just as the leader, the captain of this ship, you're going to get things right. Like, okay, you don't know when this is going to be, you don't know when, I'll just keep us updated, and that's all I did and got to work, man. Was Ubering plus a full-time job. The days sucked. It was a terrible way to live for those 8 months. Like, it was hard, but yeah, it had to be done, so it got done. So
Nice.
yeah, there's a lot of doubt, man. A lot of doubt.
Nice. Well, let's talk about Dominic Smith then, because
Yeah.
he jumped in to help finish the movie. So I think you guys must have a very strong friendship. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, thank you for bringing him up. Thank you for bringing him up. I truly appreciate that because that's one where his name has to be synonymous with rescued. It just does. I mean, he rescued this project. Like, make no mistake about it. Yeah, it's my best friend. That's my business partner. We met as actors. Oh my gosh, probably 13 years ago, if that. And we just kind of stayed in touch, and we would always root for each other and always just kind of see what the other person was doing. And then it just kind of led to a point of like, dude, why don't we just make some stuff? Why don't we just work together? Like, I started writing. I got short films I think we can do, and he's been by my side ever since, man. And I mean, you want to talk about somebody to have a friend that like really believes in you. And this is going back to like when we were just making short films. With short films, there's no real financial there's no financial gain that's going to come from it. There's not. It's more so to get your name out there, or at the very least just get experience, you know what I mean? And we worked on like 5 projects before Rescued, and I shelved like 4 of them. Like, there was just no like, and that's money that's just gone. It's okay if it's for me, it's my money because I'm the one that's writing this and directing it and producing it and all that stuff. So if I'm pissing away the money, then like, oh well. But when it's somebody else's money, it becomes like a bit of a thing where it's like, sorry, this didn't exactly turn out the way I thought it would. And for him to saddle up and just be like, well, like, okay, well, what'd you learn from it? And we just kind of figure that out and then prepare for the next one. And it's the same thing, and to keep it going. And then with Rescued, man, like this, going back to the hiatus, the biggest reason we were able to get like caught up and finish the thing was Dom was, he'll talk about this, so it's I'm not like really like giving up like things that he wouldn't want to say, but like he was homeless like during this time, and like during the time of the hiatus he was living with me in that office right there. And just giving him a place, just 6 months, I know he's gonna work, I know he's gonna get back on his feet, just don't worry about anything, you're not paying me rent, I'm not asking nothing, just get back on your feet, and he got a call that he was going to get this settlement check from this work injury that happened years ago that was just out of the blue. And it was like life-changing money for him. Like it definitely enough to get him back on his feet. And there was no expectation that this was going to happen. Like it just did, and we never had a conversation about Rescued and getting it back together or anything. And I'll never forget, he drove to Nevada, got that check, came back, and the first thing that he asked was like, so what are we looking at for Rescued? What's the damage? And committed like more than half of that check that he was. We're talking about these sort of things that once in a lifetime type deals, like these settlements and stuff like that, and you get a huge lump sum to restart your money, and he put that much into Rescued because he believed in it that much. He believed in me that much. You know what I mean? Like he did not have to do that. I didn't expect him to do that. Like it was just ultimate belief in what we were doing and in myself, and I'm eternally grateful, you know what I mean? And he, like I said, the story of Rescued, like it cannot be told without him, because he truly came in and gave this thing life again. He really did, and I'm excited to see, like, what else we do, and I know that he's looking into branching out into filmmaking, and I can't wait to support him the same way that he supported me. So yeah, just what a guy, man. It's just those are the kinds of friends that you
cherish.
yeah. It's like that word doesn't even cover, like what he is, like he's something way different, and I'm just very, very, very grateful and blessed, to have him in my life, and to have, to have traveled this long with him, man. It's my guy. So shout out to Dominique Smith.
There you go. Brilliant. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. So where can people watch Rescued, and what's next for you?
Yeah, so right now we're still in the film festival circuit, so I can tell you we do have it'll be end of August, early September for 2 screenings. I can't say as of this point in time right now, like which ones, because it's not out. But after that, I guess you just gotta follow our Instagram. It's easy. It's DJ Hale Supreme or rescuedfilm.ss. And just kind of stay up to date with it. I will tell you, we've got several distribution offers, so it'll definitely have a home. Yeah, you'll definitely be able to stream it.
Yeah, deserves it.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So we're just letting this thing play out right now, and in time, when it's time to select one, we'll do it, and it'll be available to you. And then for me personally, I'm working on a script right now that I'm really, really, really excited about. It's a very, very different kind of film than Rescued. I'm about 50% done with it. It's a psychological sports drama. Basically, it's about a small high school football player who ends up taking steroids to basically secure his starting position, so that he can get him a good chance to, like, get a scholarship and chase his professional sports dream. And his coach basically enables it, because with him, well, shoot, if this guy does really good, this will open up more opportunities for me as well. And so we kind of see these people that are, it's dark. They're overly ambitious. They're going at it the wrong way, which is in a sports movie, we hardly get to see this. It's usually different. It's very uplifting. It's very teams got to come together or work hard and do all these things. This is about people that are just like, forget it, any means necessary. We're gonna get this thing going, and seeing the chaos, and the destruction that it places as well. Just the climbing the mountaintop, and then the descent as well. It's going to be something that's really, really, really special. And
Awesome.
I can't wait to finish it. So yeah, that's what's next for me.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Keep an eye out for it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We will put a link in our bio on our YouTube channel of where you can watch this. We'll update it when they do come out on distribution as well. But thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great pleasure, not just watching the movie, but just talking to you today as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for having me. This is cool. I love doing this. You guys are very cool. This was very easy to do, and I can't wait to see this and share it. And just keep doing what you guys are doing, man. This is awesome. Great
Yeah,
movie.
thank you. No,
Yes, thank you.